Choose Dayton 24/7 now.
Good morning, I'm Nathan Edwards.
And I'm Alex King. Here's 3 quick stories to get your day started. Dayton Burger Fest is almost here. Head out to Yellow Cab Tavern Saturday for the ultimate foodie experience.
The bad thing about burgers, though, is like you can only eat like one, and well, I guess
they
you could eat
fill you up
multiples.
so, unless it's like mini burgers.
If there's sliders, I'm down.
Sliders, yeah, you could probably crush some sliders. I could crush some sliders.
Yeah, like a really well-made burger like makes my world go round.
I agree.
Give me some caramelized onions on that.
I agree,
bad boy.
but a bad burger can ruin. Just, ugh.
Yeah, I'd still eat it. Saturday night's all right in West Carrollton. Head out to see the Elton John tribute band rockin' the river this Saturday.
Okay.
They should. Saturday, Saturday, Saturday. I could say Saturday like 10 more times.
Yeah, keep
That's
going.
a great song. Great song. I love this so much.
Yeah.
Elton John's got so many great hits, and that dude looks like he's ready to party.
Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. This sounds like fun.
I should get a gold jacket like that. What do we think?
Oh, yes.
Slay all day?
I definitely agree. Cal, the baby bat-eared fox, exploring the cheetah running yard for the first time. Oh my gosh, he will be an animal ambassador for the Cincinnati Zoo. We cannot wait to eventually meet him, hopefully.
Look at his ears. His ears
I'm
went
in
back.
love. Oh my gosh.
He was
look
so
at
ready. He
it.
got started. He's
Look
like,
at that little run.
I'm a big
That
kid
little
now.
trot. Oh my gosh. He is growing up so fast.
I
That's
know.
insane.
Right before our eyes.
Our baby. Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance is heading home today for his campaign event since President Joe Biden dropped out of the race.
Melina Brown is live in Middletown this morning, or she joins us live in studio now with what we can expect at today's rally.
President Biden dropping out reshaped this entire race. You'll see that today when J.D. Vance takes the stage at Middletown High School at 1:30. He's already targeting Vice President Kamala Harris, who's now expected to be the Democratic nominee for president. He sent out an X post blaming her for inflation and the crisis at the border. But Vance hoped today would be all about his return home and reintroducing himself on the political stage. Dr. Lee Hanna from Wright State University says he's already got a strong base in Ohio, but Vance needs work getting his name out nationally.
Most research shows that people at the end of the day still vote for the person at the top of the ticket. But what you don't want to have in the next several weeks and months is anything about J.D. Vance to come out or any poor appearances where people question Trump's judgment.
Some Democrats and opponents of the Trump-Vance campaign have already began pointing out issues with the candidate, including his limited time in office and that the senator was once a, quote, never Trumper Republican. Again, the rally begins at 1:30 today, but doors at Middletown High School will open at 10:30. Back to you.
Well, this morning we're actually waking up to some scattered showers across the mountain.
Back to you.
And we'll hear more from our local political experts later this morning. Wright State University's Dr. Lee Hanna will be live on your day at 7:45.
Kids of all ages need the right tools to make the most of their education. Dayton 24/7 Now is partnering with Crayons to Classrooms all next week to provide school supplies for local students as they head back to class. Help us stuff the bus. We have it parked outside our studio right now, ready for your donations.
Our time right now is 5:08. Don't forget to get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
And your weather on the side of the screen all morning long, even during commercials.
We are looking at a day where we should see temperatures in the low to mid 80s and a scattered storm possible. Ditto for tomorrow. We'll talk about when hot and humid weather starts. That's coming up after the break. You're watching Your Day.
Here's what I know.
Patio, sponsored by Watson's. Only on Dayton 24/7 now.
Hunter Biden has had a change of heart. He's dropped a lawsuit he filed last month against Fox News over the network's fictionalized miniseries that he alleged and included sexually explicit images of him without consent. The 2022 miniseries aired on Fox's streaming service. It was a dramatized mock trial about Biden's overseas financial dealings that led in part to his federal tax indictment. Fox News removed the miniseries from its platforms last April after Biden threatened to sue.
A federal judge is now refusing to dismiss the criminal charges against former Congressman George Santos. The New York Republican is facing 23 counts over allegations of fraud, identity theft, and using campaign funds for personal expenses. While Santos is pleading not guilty, 2 members of his campaign staff have already pleaded guilty to similar charges. Santos served New York's 3rd congressional district before the House booted him in a bipartisan vote last year. His trial is set for September.
A Florida man is now waking up behind bars this morning. Police arrested Michael Wiseman Friday for making threats online against Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. According to the Jupiter Police Department, Wiseman was charged for writing threats on social media against the former president, Vance, and their families. The arrest comes almost a week after the assassination attempt on Trump at his campaign rally in Pennsylvania. Following the shooting, law enforcement agencies have increased patrols across the nation, urging citizens to report suspicious threats or activity.
All right, here's the view right now over Dayton, where we're waking up to a wet start to your morning. We'll continue to see this rain moving through. I think it should exit out by the time we get towards mid to late morning. So effectively, we are talking about this morning being the wetter period, but there's still the threat of an afternoon or evening shower or storm. So again, while we're waking up to morning rain, the second half of the day does feature a small chance. If we do get some sunshine, I'm expecting temperatures to rise into the low 80s. Of course, if we stay cloudy throughout the day, may end up being more of just upper 70s. Once we get into tomorrow, patchy fog possible early. We'll do it all again with the threat for an isolated pop-up storm. If we're looking at a more significant chance of rain, it would be on Wednesday, but that's heavily caveated by how this all comes together. This is a cold front, and maybe, just maybe, this will fizzle out. So there is a window for us to see better chances of rain, but it's not a surefire thing. That should clear by Thursday. Now, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I brought out the Alex thumbs up. Why? Because beginning on Sunday, these temperatures will near 90 degrees. And I think next week, in fact, we're going to be looking at bare minimum upper 80s to low 90s for much of the week ahead. So this begins the next hot phase, which certainly counts as Alex thumbs up. As for the roads this morning, traffic is going to move a little bit slower as of right now due to the ongoing rain. You can see just how heavy it is right now over at 3rd Street and 70 and 75. It is the type of morning where I'm just encouraging everybody, give yourself a little bit of extra time. Those roads are going to be slick here for the next few hours at the bare minimum.
Pennsylvania Congressman Brendan Boyle is the first Democratic representative to call on Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle to resign after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Kayla Gaskins joins us now with the latest from Washington.
Lawmakers preparing to press the director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, on the agency failures that almost got Donald Trump killed.
She's going to have about a 6-hour hearing, and she's going to have hundreds of questions that she's going to have to answer.
Cheadle's appearance before the House Oversight Committee is set for Monday morning. She's expected to face tough questions on why top agency officials reportedly denied requests to give the team protecting Donald Trump more resources. The Washington Post writing the agents wanted more magnetometers, as well as more agents and more snipers at events. The Secret Service initially denied turning down these requests, but is now acknowledging some may have been rejected.
This is unconscionable, what we have seen out of this Secret Service, and this director has shown and proven in her public statements that she is not fit to lead that very important agency. The
Trump campaign putting out an update on Trump's medical condition from former White House physician Ronnie Jackson, confirming the bullet came within 1/4 of an inch of his head, creating a 2-centimeter wide wound on his ear.
I put this out because a couple of things. I wanted people to know that the president's doing well. I also wanted people to know that he almost died.
Trump telling Fox News he was never warned about the shooter.
No one
told you not to take the stage?
No, nobody mentioned it. Nobody said there was a problem. And I would have waited.
Director Cheadle is also expected to face heavy scrutiny during Monday's hearing over her focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion to increase the amount of female Secret Service agents. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Our time right now is 5:17. Still to come.
They are one of the most nutritious foods you can eat. I'm Liz Bonus. Why you may want to go peach picking. It is just ahead.
You're watching Your Day. Take Dayton
Nature's bounty. It's in your nature.
Good morning, I'm Nathan Edwards.
And I'm Alex King. Here are 3 quick stories to get your day started. Glenn Powell's parents are at it again after surprising their son outside New York's 30 Rock with handmade signs reading, "I changed Glenn Powell's diapers," and Glenn Powell is our force of nature.
I love this.
I actually saw this interview. It was so funny. I love his mom. She says they have major FOMO, so they love just going and doing a bunch of stuff with him whenever they can.
Oh, they're so cute. They love their kids so much, and he's doing great. He's like this year's star.
He's huge. Yeah, he's blown up. He's doing great.
I heard Twisters was really good, by the way.
I know. I'm hearing great reviews too.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And a new unique flavor combination is going viral. The watermelon pickle sandwich. What? No.
No.
No. It's topped with feta
Ew.
cheese, arugula, and
Okay, wait.
balsamic. Now, those combos
That
are
actually
good.
kind of looks good.
Have you ever had salad with watermelon? But I don't know about the pickles.
The pickle and the watermelon combo, I just can't
like
do.
feta, balsamic, arugula. You
Yeah,
can make
without
salads like
the
that.
pickles, with just maybe the cheese and the, that.
But still, it looks very unnatural.
Yeah, I don't. I
And
still
then they
don't
had
know
to get
how I
a
feel about that.
seeded watermelon instead of a seedless. What is like monsters? Monsters.
And
Supposed to
Costco.
spit out your sandwich like I'm sorry.
Just take a bite.
Yep. Anyways.
Costco is selling what some are calling an apocalypse bucket. It features over 150 meals that last up to 25 years.
Yeah, everything is normal. Nothing alarming about that at all.
We need to tell Melina about this.
Yeah, she is a conspiracy
She's our little
theorist.
conspiracy theorist.
But yeah.
I mean, you know what? Hey,
Good for them.
gotta do what you gotta do to make yourself
Feel better?
feel better.
I guess so.
You never know.
You know, Twinkles will last like 25 years plus too. Pop some of those in.
I was telling you, I'm ready for a zombie apocalypse if it happens.
I'm good.
Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance is heading home today for his first campaign event since President Joe Biden dropped out of the race.
Melena Brown joins us live in Middletown this morning with what we can expect at today's rally. Melena?
Today's rally is going to be an extremely crucial moment for the Trump-Vance campaign as President Biden just dropped out of the race yesterday, and they spent all last week telling folks why they shouldn't vote for him at the Republican National Convention. Here's what Senator J.D. Vance had to say on X about Biden dropping out. He called President Biden the worst president in his lifetime, saying in part, quote, "President Trump and I are ready to save America. Whoever's at the top of the Democratic ticket, bring it on." This will certainly play in today's rally, although political experts say Senator Vance needed to use today's event to talk about growing up in Middletown and convey to voters why he's a strong candidate. It's now expected that he'll focus on potential presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Dr. Lee Hanna with Wright State University said it was a smart decision for Trump to pick the Ohio senator as he can relate to smaller towns like Middletown. But he will have to work to get his name known nationally.
Most research shows that people at the end of the day still vote for the person at the top of the ticket. But what you don't want to have in the next several weeks and months is anything about J.D. Vance to come out or any poor appearances where people question Trump's judgment.
Some Democrats and opponents of the Trump-Vance campaign have already began pointing out issues with the candidate, including his limited time in office and the fact that the senator was once a, quote, never Trump Republican. But again, that rally starts today at 1:30 p.m. here at Middletown High School. The doors do open at 10:30 a.m. Back to you.
We are still continuing to see showers across most of the Miami Valley, especially southwestern quarter. That is where from Dayton down towards Hamilton, we do have some periods of heavier rain moving through, and you can see those yellows and oranges, and every once in a while red will pop up. That's indicative of a just straight downpour. Beyond that, to the southwest, there's really not a whole lot once you get, let's say, west of Louisville area. So I'm thinking at this stage that this is probably going to be more of a morning rain followed by somewhat of clearing from the rain, and then perhaps an afternoon, evening pop-up style thunderstorm. It is not the most supportive of widespread rain later on today, but what I do expect is because of the heat and humidity overall, there is just going to be that threat. And we'll ditto that for tomorrow. In fact, today and tomorrow very much so similar days. The pattern breaks down, though, on Wednesday. And we'll talk about why we expect Wednesday and maybe even parts of Thursday morning to feature the better chances of rain. Meanwhile, speaking of rain, it is certainly making things a lot more, I don't want to say very difficult, but a little bit more troublesome during the morning commute. Obviously, the roads are wet right now. Traffic is moving, but perhaps a tick slower as that rain is coming down heavy at times.
President Joe Biden has announced he will drop out of the 2024 race. In a statement yesterday, Biden says he believes it's in the best interest of his party and country to end his campaign. He says he will focus on the rest of his term and provide more details on his decision later this week. This announcement comes after weeks of speculation and mounting pressure within the Democratic Party for the first presidential debate.
President Biden's campaign took a tailspin in a matter of about 3 weeks. This morning, we take a look at that timeline. It was June 27th when the candidates met on stage to debate. The 81-year-old often trailed off and gave nonsensical answers. Biden's disastrous performance led to the first Democratic lawmaker publicly calling on him to step down on July 2nd. More lawmakers joined the chorus, and the president held his first solo press conference in months on July 11th, addressing the mounting concerns but vowing to stay in the race. That coming on the heels of the NATO alliance's annual summit. Former President Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt that weekend at a rally in Pennsylvania. Biden condemned the violence and called for unity. California Congressman Adam Schiff becomes the highest profile lawmaker to call on Biden to drop out of the race on July 17th. Many Democrats voiced concerns that Biden's candidacy would impact races up and down the ticket. That same day, President Biden tested positive for COVID-19, ratcheting up concerns about his age and health. He traveled to Delaware to self-isolate. Meanwhile, Republicans held their national convention in Milwaukee, uniting the party behind Donald Trump and VP pick J.D. Vance. That brings us to yesterday, when President Biden issued his statement bowing out of the race, throwing his support behind Vice President Kamala Harris.
Donald Trump quickly seizing on President Joe Biden's decision to back out. In a post on his social media site, the former president laid into Biden, saying he's not fit to serve and never was. He also accused Biden's doctor and the media of hiding the president's physical and mental condition, adding that he will repair the, quote, damage done during Biden's presidency.
The chairman of the Democratic National Convention responding to Biden's decision to end his campaign, calling the president a good man.
And, you know, I'm emotional because I am still riding with Biden. I still support my president.
Biden's announcement seems to have caught many Democrats by surprise. Just Sunday morning, state party chairs from 7 battleground states released a joint letter reaffirming their support for the president as a Democratic nominee. Biden was expected to become his party's nominee at the Democratic National Convention, which starts August 19th in Chicago. Instead, the DNC says it will hold a transparent and orderly process to choose their next 2024 nominee.
Former President Barack Obama issuing a glowing statement reflecting on Biden's legacy. The more than 500-word essay looked back at Biden's decades of public service, including the 8 years spent by Obama's side as vice president. He says in part, quote, I also know Joe has never backed down from a fight. I know he wouldn't make this decision unless he believes it was right for America. Obama's statement noted the party will be navigating new territory and did not come out with an endorsement for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Vice President Harris is now stepping up to the plate, saying she will earn and win the Democratic nomination. She thanked President Biden for his endorsement and decades of service. She says she will do everything in her power to unite the Democratic Party to defeat Trump.
Vice President Kamala Harris may be cashing in on the president's withdrawal within hours. The campaign formally changed its name to Harris for President, inheriting the Biden-Harris Campaign Fund. Both Biden and Harris pushed out the link to donate. Many big-time donors are reportedly rushing back. Some held off in recent weeks over concerns with the Biden ticket. Even still, there are holdouts, with several top Democrats favoring an open primary.
And the Clintons are now throwing their support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton put out a joint statement saying they are honored to join Biden in endorsing Harris and will do whatever they can to support her. They say it's time to fight with everything we've got to elect her because America's future depends on it.
Our time right now is 5:40. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
And your weather on the side of the screen all morning long, even during commercials.
It's been more than 2 decades since Nikki McCown disappeared. Now Dayton 24/7 Hours been working to find out what happened to the bride-to-be. Next.
You're watching Your Day.
Play free game.
Days at 10 a.m. on ABC 22.
Well, call this the 75 showers. We are waking up to rain basically from Cincinnati and actually almost down towards Charleston. So realistically, almost down 71 as well, up into the Shelby and now even the Wapakoneta area. So this is just a widespread, good old-fashioned soaker. There's nothing that's that crazy about it. It's just a wet morning for many of us. Now, we do expect this to begin to move out probably as soon as later on this morning into the afternoon. Then from there, it's just isolated style pop-up thunderstorm. Realistically, I think once we get past noontime, a lot of us will stay dry. Patchy fog is possible early tomorrow. More potential isolated showers possible during the afternoon and evening. Then for Wednesday, another chance of rain, perhaps a slightly better as a cold front moves through.
Today marks 23 years since 28-year-old bride-to-be Nikki McCown went missing from Richmond, Indiana. Her story captivated the Miami Valley for decades, and now our team at Dayton 24/7 Now is launching a new podcast investigating her disappearance. The first 2 episodes are out at 6 o'clock this morning. Join us for never-before-heard interviews and emotional conversations with her family in their quest for justice and peace.
Nikki disappeared weeks before her own wedding. Despite the family's efforts like this March, the trail is getting colder.
It's a case we've covered extensively here at Dayton 24/7 now for 23 years. 28-year-old Nikki McCown vanished from Richmond, Indiana on July 22nd, 2001, just 3 weeks before her wedding day. Never heard before audio from a police interview with her then fiance, Bobby Webster.
I'm not going to assume that she had COVID. I'm tired of hearing people say that.
Giving some insight into their relationship.
The sooner we get back together and get this behind us, we can get her married.
And the hope from her now adult daughter, Peyton, who was just 9 years old when her mother disappeared.
She was a very active mom, so it was scary to know, I don't know where my mom is and I don't know what's happening.
Nikki's family searched for her then.
To go to bed at night and not to know if your sister is alive or dead is killing me inside.
And continue to search for her now, along with Richmond police.
And we don't know at this point that Nikki's no longer with us, but if a body were to turn up, you would like to think that that's going to provide new evidence.
There were several persons of interest police interviewed at the time of her disappearance, but the more they spoke to some, the more troubling stories from the past came into focus.
And I was watching Bobby because the things that he was doing right out in front of us just seemed odd to me.
Did you ever suspect him?
I did. I really did.
Did you ever ask him if he had anything to do with it?
I did. And he said, I can't believe you would think that. But I understand why you do.
We're the journalists who brought you the Missing Erica Baker podcast. The connection between missing 9-year-old Erica Baker and Nikki's family is what led us to this new investigation.
Do you know how much relief that would bring to both our families if they're able to recover Nikki and we were able to recover Erica?
Join us for our 5-part series, The Missing Nikki McCown podcast retraces Nikki's steps, re-examines evidence, and uncovers the secrets that have remained buried. And hear never before heard police interview audio from one of the prime suspects, Tommy Swint.
What I'm upset about is me being investigated for Nikki. Nikki was my friend. I want to find her just as much you or her parents want to find her.
And learn why police focused their investigation on him 20 years ago and still to this day.
I think our agency just kind of called his bluff and said, if you've been cooperative the whole time, then consent to giving us your DNA.
On the outside, he was charming. On the outside, he was a handsome man. He was very well put together. He was, so on the outside, the behind the scenes was not what you saw on the outside.
What really happened to this missing bride-to-be?
I always believe it. One way or the other, my baby's coming home. She's coming back to us.
The trailer for Missing Nikki McCown is out now. If you want to listen to the first 2 episodes, grab your phone and scan the QR code. You can also search for Missing Nikki McCown in Apple, Spotify, or whatever podcast platform you use. Make sure you subscribe to the series so you always know when a new episode drops. We also have a special section dedicated to Nikki's case on our website, Dayton247now.com.
Our time right now is 5:48. We are gearing up for a highly anticipated matchup later today featuring former Dayton Flyers and former Ohio State Buckeyes. A preview of that game coming up.
You're watching Your Day.
lawyers at Elk & Elk. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Good morning, I'm Matt Digby, and this is the Bob's Discount Furniture Sports Desk. This weekend, the Cincinnati Reds playing their first series after Major League Baseball's All-Star break. Friday night was a tough game in Washington, but Saturday was a game that could have been won, and Sunday was also a game the Reds could have won. However, it was the Washington Nationals finishing a 3-game sweep yesterday, winning 5-2. The Reds did open the scoring on a solo home run from Noelvi Marte, and then after going behind 2-1, Stuart Fairchild tying the game with this solo home run in the 5th, but James Wood with a go-ahead 3-run shot to left field in the 8th. That would decide the game. It means the Reds are now on a 4-game skid dating back to last Sunday.
At this point, it's pick ourselves up. We have so much to play for, and so much time left ahead of us that's the focus now. So obviously you learn, and you have to find ways to improve, especially when things aren't going well or when they are going well. But then we got to pick ourselves up and come out and find a way to take it one pitch at a time.
And we're several days into the 2024 edition of the basketball tournament. Sunday was an off day for the Dayton Regional after Red Scare and Carmen's crew were among the first-round winners on Saturday. That means the Dayton and Ohio State alumni teams will play each other in the second round tonight around 8 o'clock at UD Arena. Red Scare trying to replicate their success from 2 years ago when they made the semifinals. Carmen's crew won TBT back in 2019, but whoever wins tonight will be in the Dayton Regional Final on Wednesday evening. That's a look at sports. I'm Matt Digby.
Our time right now is 5:52.
You're watching Your Day.
Our biggest announcement.
By Thrush & Son, complete home improvement.
Well, here's the view right now in Dayton where it is soggy outside. It has been raining pretty consistently here for the last maybe 2 hours or so. We did actually have some bursts of heavier rain, but a lot of that has started to either weaken or just become lighter rain, I think is a more appropriate way of putting it. Any type of heavier rain is well off to the south, any type of thunderstorms as well. For the rest of today, it is just more or less all about will we see any more rain once you get past, let's say, mid-late morning, early afternoon. I think that there's a window where we could see a shower or thunderstorm, although it doesn't look particularly that likely for anything more than just a pop-up style shower or thunderstorm from about 2 p.m. and onward. That's your peak heating style thunderstorm. Again, not looking that likely. Tonight, 64. I do think that there's a chance that some of us wake up to patchy fog. More rural areas where that air is allowed to settle seems to be the more likely area. Storms are possible Wednesday, perhaps as late as early Thursday morning, although I'd argue they're probably out of here by daybreak. Friday and Saturday, temperatures warm into the 80s. Sunday itself begins a string where it could be upper 80s, if not 90 degrees, and that looks to continue into all of next week, or at least most of it. On the roads this morning, right for now, does look like where you're seeing some incidents pop up. Harshman Road south at Springfield Street, another one over by 35 and Smithville, and then one more, and that is 70 East near 503 exit 14, all the way in Preble County.
It's a ritual that many people around the country take most mornings. They go on a coffee run. Well, one man from Pennsylvania often turns people's heads when he is getting his Java. That's because he always brings his pet cockatoo with him. Tiki has been with his owner, 84-year-old Bill Wasson, for decades. Wasson brings his feathered companion to the local Wawa every day so the bird can get out of the house and socialize. Stop. Tiki patiently waits outside in Wasson's pickup truck while he grabs his coffee in the daily newspaper. Wasson says Tiki is like family to him.
I would love that if I saw that.
I'm seriously obsessed. I think that's precious.
I love it too. Look how
what a good owner.
And can I point out, I've seen angrier dogs go into stores and you're like, I don't want to be near that. A cockatoo, like, all right, sure. Like, just give it a cracker and it could go on its day.
I heard it whistling at people. That was great in the video.
That's so cute.
If that happened when I walked in the store, I'd be like, who did it?
Who did that? Who did that? We got a lot more coming up on Your Day at 6 a.m.
Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance will be speaking in his hometown today. We have what you can expect from the rally coming up.
And wet weather is likely for today and possibly through part of the middle of the week. And we're talking about hot weather. We'll have your forecast, including the ongoing rain, coming up after the break. You're watching Your Day.
ABC 12.
And spinning. Take back control with lipoflavonoid.
Good morning, I'm Nathan Edwards.
And I'm Alex King. Here's 3 quick stories to get your day started. Dayton Burger Fest is almost here. You can head on out to Yellow Cab Tavern Saturday for the ultimate foodie experience.
Yeah, I love some burgers. Give me a double with cheese and all the fixins.
All the fixins. What is all the fixins?
I love a good classic. I love give me tomato, lettuce, mayo, onion.
Pickles?
Pickles and mustard.
Literally all the classics.
Yeah. Oh, toss on some grilled mushrooms and onions, and you have a happy boy.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Saturday night's all right in West Carrollton. That's right. Head out to see Elton John tribute band Saturday for Rockin' the River. And you love to see it.
This will be such a fun event to go to.
Do you have a favorite Elton John song? Do you know any Elton John songs off the top of your head?
I do, but I wouldn't get. I don't know if I
Hold me closer, Tiny.
Yeah.
Every time I hear that song, I'm like, hold me closer, Tony Danza. Don't ask why, but it just sounds like that sometimes.
Okay. All right.
Anyways, random fact.
I'll come back to you on my favorite song. Cal, the baby bat-eared fox, exploring the cheetah running yard for the first time. He will be an animal ambassador for the Cincinnati Zoo.
He's your baby. Look
Give
at
me
him
your
go.
baby run.
He's such a big boy.
Could you imagine just being there and just seeing Cal run up to you with his little ears back like that?
Yeah, it looks like they're playing in the backyard with a dog.
I would literally cry. We need to talk to our producer about getting him on.
We've been trying for a while. Just saying.
Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance is heading home today for his first campaign event since President Joe Biden dropped out of the race.
Melena Brown joins us live in Middletown this morning with what we can expect at today's rally. Melena?
President Joe Biden dropping out has reshaped this entire race, and you're going to see that today when J.D. Vance takes the stage here at Middletown High School at 1:30 p.m. He's already targeting Vice President Kamala Harris, who's now expected to be the Democratic nominee for president. He sent out an X post blaming her for inflation and the crisis at the border. But Vance hoped today would be all about his return home and reintroducing himself on the political stage. Dr. Lee Hanna from Wright State University says he's already got a strong base in Ohio, but Vance needs to work on getting his name out nationally.
Most research shows that people at the end of the day still vote for the person at the top of the ticket. But what you don't want to have in the next several weeks and months is anything about J.D. Vance to come out or any poor appearances where people question Trump's judgment.
Some Democrats and opponents of the Trump-Vance campaign have already began pointing out issues with the candidate, including his limited time in office and that the senator was once a, quote, never Trump Republican. Again, that rally starts today at 1:30 p.m., but the doors here at Middletown High School open at 10:30. Back to you.
We're still continuing to track the rain as it moves through the area. There is, right for now, periods of light moderate rainfall across most of the Miami Valley. With the exception of our western counties in Ohio, that is where we're starting to see the end of the rain. And frankly, based on its current trajectory, there may not be a whole lot of rain left over once you get past this. That all being said, I do think it's going to be a wet start to the day with the potential for a couple of afternoon and evening showers or thunderstorms. Realistically, I'm not expecting a whole lot, but I would expect there to be just a window of opportunity, if you will. Otherwise, temperatures low to mid 80s, frankly, pretty close to averages summer day, if you will. Tomorrow, much more of the same. The only thing we won't see is that window of rain early on. I think that basically it's coming down to isolated pop-up thunderstorms the next 48 hours after, of course, we get through the morning. But, of course, we got a morning commute to get there before that. And right now, the morning commute, oof, it looks all types of wet outside. We're still continuing to see the rain come down. And with it right now, traffic moving a little bit slower. There is an incident 35 east at Smithville. Harshman Road south at Springfield Street, then 70 east at 503. Also, East Hitchin Road and Limerick Road as you head northeast up towards Springfield, as where there's an incident and traffic is being directed around it.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, President Joe Biden's announced he will drop out of the 2024 race. In a statement yesterday, Biden said he believes it is the best interest of the party and country to end his campaign. He says he'll continue to focus on the rest of his term and provide more details on his decision later this week. This announcement comes after weeks of speculation and mounting pressure within the Democratic Party following the first presidential debate. After Biden's debate performance, officials began to raise concerns over his ability to serve another 4 years. Biden's 81 years old, already the oldest sitting president.
Ohio leaders are now weighing in on Biden's decision to drop out of the 2024 presidential race this morning. Governor Mike DeWine shared this on X. He says in part, quote, "Fran and I wish President Biden and the First Lady all the best as he serves out the remainder of his term and in the years ahead."
Senator Sherrod Brown taking to X saying, quote, "I thank President Biden for his years of committed service to the country we love as senator, as vice president, and as president."
And Senator J.D. Vance also reacting, calling President Biden the worst president in his lifetime. Vance goes on to say in part, quote, "President Trump and I are ready to save America. Whoever's at the top of the Democrat ticket, bring it on."
And Congressman Mike Turner also released a statement following President Biden's announcement. He says in part, quote, "This announcement confirms what the American people would have done at the ballot box in November."
We know President Biden, as well as several other Democratic leaders, have endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris, who says she will, quote, "earn and win the nomination."
Kasha Hancock called in political expert Dr. Mark Caleb Smith from Cedarville University to break it down.
Dr. Mark Caleb Smith with Cedarville University says we're not quite sure of what will happen next since this has never happened in the modern primary system. Dr. Smith says he expects a roll call vote to be held at the Democratic National Convention in August. If Vice President Kamala Harris is the only one, he says this could be a seamless process. Dr. Mark Caleb Smith of Cedarville says with Biden's sudden withdrawal from the presidential race, the next steps remain unknown. Biden pulling out of the race has spurred mixed feelings from both Republicans and Democrats. Though a roll call vote is expected to take place at the Democratic National Convention, Dr. Smith says if another candidate other than Vice President Harris steps up, the process could get more controversial.
A couple of legal issues could come forward. One is what happens to the money that's been raised by Joe Biden in Joe Biden's name. From what I understand, if Kamala Harris steps forward as the nominee, since she was vice president and she was part of that legal process, it would be a pretty easy transition for her to control that funding. If it's another candidate who had nothing to do at all with the fundraising, then we could see some legal wrangling over that money.
As we learn more about the next steps in this process, we'll be sure to update you on air and online at Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
We'll hear more from our local political experts this morning. Wright State University's Dr. Lee Hanna will be live on Your Day at 7:45.
Kids of all ages need the right tools to make the most of their education. Dayton 24/7 now is partnering with Crayons to Classrooms. All next week to provide school supplies, all this week to provide school supplies, for local students as they head back to class. Help us stuff the bus. We have it parked outside our studio, ready for your donations.
Today marks 23 years since a bride-to-be vanished just 3 weeks before her wedding day. Now, more than 2 decades later, we're investigating what happened to 28-year-old Nikki McCown. She was last seen at a laundromat in Richmond, Indiana on July 22, 2001. 5 months later, Nikki's car was found in an apartment complex here in Dayton. But to date, Nikki has never been found, and while police and 3 viable suspects, they still don't know what happened to her. The first 2 episodes were just released moments ago. You can scan the QR code on your screen to download or search for Missing Nikki McCown in Apple, Spotify, or whatever podcast platform you use. Make sure you subscribe to the series so you know when a new episode drops.
I look forward to listening to the first 2 episodes. Our time right now is 6:09. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
We are looking at today being an isolated shower or thunderstorm possible, but it'll be hot and humid for the weekend. We'll talk about when you could expect that to start. That's coming up after the break. You're watching Your Day.
Here's what I know.
7:30 on ABC 22.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Let's talk rainbows. This is known as a fire rainbow, but it's technically a circumhorizontal arc. It's formed by the refraction of sunlight and ice crystals suspended in the air. This rainbow may seem incomplete, but there's a good reason. It won't reach the ground until the rain reaches the ground. And double rainbows like this form when sunlight is reflected twice within the same raindrop.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
Well, scattered showers and thunderstorms still continue across the area. It's not particularly that heavy of a rain for the most part, but there's just these embedded periods where it's coming down a little bit heavier. Right for now, that actually is right almost directly on top of our studio. In particular, it's the 675 area of Miamisburg, Miami Township. Now, let's take the wide view look at it, where we do have, right for now, a little bit of a break developing out to the west. That's not to say that we are 100% done with the rain, but the odds are that that period would likely allow us to go from the 60s into the 70s. As for temperatures, highly dependent on how much sunshine we can eke out from the clouds. As of this moment, I'd expect partly mostly cloudy skies. We will be looking at, though, temperatures anywhere from low 80s, upper 70s into the mid 80s today. It is going to be just slightly below average with a pop-up thunderstorm possible during the afternoon and evening. Meanwhile, on the roads this morning, a couple different spots we're tracking. First and foremost, of course, 35 west near 675. That is where we have seen multiple areas of tie-ups and concerns. We do have a couple of incidents on 70, though, on the exit ramp, or excuse me, that is 35 is on the exit ramp of Smithville, but we do have 70 over by 503 and by 48 where there are incidents, but both of those aren't stopping traffic at this point.
Our time right now is 6:14. It's National Mango Day. How you can make a sweet way to celebrate next.
You're watching Your Day.
Take Dayton
Lawyers at Elk & Elk. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO.
Well, it's time to look at what's going on outside. The sun is, well, let me rephrase it. We are now daylit, but the sun is hidden behind clouds and rain. The rain, light rain, still continues across most of the Miami Valley. Should continue here for at least the next hour or two. I know that this particular model still wants to have us scattered showers based off of what's out to the west. Still probably a window for that, but once you get towards, I would say, even 11 noon time, that will likely end. For this afternoon and evening, perhaps a pop-up style thunderstorm. It doesn't scream like this is going to be anything that is going to be too busy, but it is worth pointing out that we do have the potential for a little bit more wet weather. Highs today should be low to mid 80s. Tomorrow, waking up to perhaps some patchy fog. I do think we'll also be low to mid 80s for tomorrow. And yet again, these pop-up style thunderstorms, it is not that everywhere is going to see them. It is the case where maybe one or two spots do pick up them. For Wednesday, we still have this cold front that will move through perhaps second half of the day into Thursday, early Thursday morning. That could provide a window for us to see showers and thunderstorms. As for today's pool forecast, we've had better. I mean, it's going to be partly to mostly cloudy and temperatures low to mid 80s. Now, speaking of pool forecast, the weekend, yeah, mid to upper 80s, if not near 90. Sunday itself starts a string of very hot and humid days, which means we got to break out the Alex. It's her seal of approval for being hot and humid weather. On the roads this morning, we have multiple incidents now, none of which are stopping traffic on 70 eastbound. 503, there is a little bit of a slowdown as you approach that area from Preble County. Over by 48, that one seems to be at least not making things a little bit slower. And then 35 East, I have not seen any of these on the cameras, but again, based on the cameras in and around the area, it doesn't seem like there's major slowdowns for any of them at this stage.
Today is a special day to pay tribute to one of the world's favorite fruits. July 22nd is designated as National Mango Day, a sweet tropical fruit popular in desserts and drinks. Mangoes were first cultivated more than 4,000 years ago in India. Unlike other fruits that spread as birds and animals transport tiny seeds, it was humans who transported mangoes across the world. There are more than 500 varieties, many of which were cultivated as a result of political, religious, and social influences.
Our time right now is 6:20. Sundance Film Festival has announced a list of finalists for places to host its 2027 event. Coming up, what Ohio City made the top 5.
You're watching Your Day.
Choose help.
tonight on ABC 22.
It is time for Pet of the Day, where, of course, we celebrate your pets. Today's pet is Harley. Harley joining us. And, you know, today a day where it's not going to be ideal for the pets. I think we're well beyond the point of everything is wet outside. And now it's all about how much muddy are we going, how muddy is it going to be? We will likely see some showers of thunder, showers and maybe perhaps a heavier burst of rain. I was going to call it thunder showers, but that's not fair. It doesn't really have any thunder. We'll have showers and heavier showers up until 10 a.m. Then from there, it's generally going to be partly to mostly cloudy. We should be able to get some breaks in the clouds, but there may be that thin overcast like it was yesterday. Because of that, I'm thinking low to mid 80s is all we'll get to. Is it particularly that cool? No, but it is certainly a little bit on the cooler side from what is to come over the weekend. In fact, this weekend, we could be up around 90 degrees as soon as Sunday. Meanwhile, on the roads this morning, we are tracking the construction area around 35, where obviously the last week or so we've seen that delay right where the bridge construction is. We still have a couple of incidents around the area, none of which are causing a major headache. Perhaps the only one that is causing somewhat of a slowdown is over by 70 East and 503, but that is relegated to the immediate area right around that crash.
If you're spending all summer Netflixing Bridgerton, you're not alone. Netflix just added 8 million subscribers in the second quarter, but it's going to phase out its lowest priced ad-free subscription plan, which is $11.99 a month. New subscribers as of July 2023 no longer will be able to get the so-called basic plan, but for those grandfathered in, it will no longer be available either. The good news is there's a cheaper plan from Netflix that's $6.99 a month, but it does come with ads. Amazon Prime Day is come and gone, and the numbers are in. Adobe Analytics says Americans spent $14.2 billion during the two-day event, and that is a new record. In fact, the big sellers were tablets, TVs, and Bluetooth speakers. Thoughtful AI has launched the world's first fully human-capable AI agent specializing in the business side of healthcare. The first suite of these human-capable AI agents, named Cam, Eva, and Phil, perform claims processing, patient eligibility, and also payment posting within the healthcare industry. Here's CEO Alex Zekoff.
There's data points that suggest that people make more once they get reallocated to better work that's not just data entry or repetitive workflows. So we think this is the next generation, and our AI agents are helping solve that, specifically in the healthcare industry.
AI agents are even better than humans because they're always available, error-free, fast, and infinitely scalable. And the company just got a $20 million investment to expand. Well, TSMC says demand remains high even though supply is constrained for high-end AI chips till at least next year. The manufacturer, who works with NVIDIA, reported revenue and net income higher than analyst expectations. From the NASDAQ market site, I'm Jane King with your Tech Report.
The Sundance Film Festival has decided on a list of finalist cities to host its 2024 event. Atlanta, Cincinnati, Boulder, Louisville, and Santa Fe all made the short list. That's in addition to the current host city of Utah. The Sundance Institute's considering several factors, including infrastructure, event capabilities of each city, as well as culture and diversity. The famed film festival will remain in Park City and Salt Lake City in 2025 and 2026. Selection committee members are planning trips to each of the finalist cities in the coming weeks.
Here's a look at today's poll question. What is the most useless thing you still have memorized? I'm already struggling with this one, but get your answers in. Coming up at 6:50, we'll share our answers and take a look at what some of you had to say. You can find it on our Facebook page.
I'm sure there's some useless book knowledge in there somewhere about fairies and dragons. You'll be good. Our time right now is 6:27, still to come.
Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance will be speaking in his hometown today. We have what you can expect from the rally coming up.
President Biden will no longer seek re-election. Coming up, the top contenders to take his spot ahead of the Democratic convention next month.
But first, here's Gabrielle Kerr with America's Steals and Deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Naki.
What if I told you with the wave of a wand, you could have glowing, radiant skin? Well, you can with the Solar Wave Beauty Wand. What's really unique about this is it uses 4 different modalities to help sculpt, tone, lift, tighten your skin and it's super easy to use. So you push the button, and first thing you'll notice is the red light therapy. You may have seen that in doctor's offices. Medi spas use this. Now you can get that same treatment at your convenience for a lot less in the comfort of your own home 3 times a week for 3 minutes. That's all it takes. And then it also uses vibration, and that helps with the puffiness under the eyes. This also uses galvanic current. That also helps your products that you invest in to penetrate even better, and therapeutic warmth. It also just feels really good. Now, right now, we're offering 30% off on the SolaWave. Head to asadeals.com for this exclusive offer and start seeing the results in as little as 2 weeks. This is something that all skin types can use, and as I said, it's just easy. If I had to add one more item to my skincare routine, I don't know if I'd be able to get it done. This is something that I can even do on the go. It's rechargeable. Take it with you on vacation. It's super simple. And as I said, if you want to take advantage of this deal, go to asadeals.com today.
AMC today, just minutes from I-675 and 70 in Fairborn.
Good morning, I'm Nathan Edwards.
And I'm Alex King. Here are 3 quick stories to get your day started. Glenn Powell's parents are at it again after surprising their son outside New York's 30 Rock with handmade signs reading, "I changed Glenn Powell's diapers," and "Glenn Powell is our force of nature."
They're so cute.
I love them, and it just really shows where he gets his, comedic side, his charm, because obviously his parents are pretty funny.
Yeah, and they show up and show that they're supportive of their son, and he's kind of been the star of the summer, so congrats to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a new flavor combination is now going viral, and it's special. It's called the Watermelon Pickle Sandwich, topped with feta cheese, arugula, and balsamic. I guess they always say you don't knock it till you try it, but I don't think I'll be trying this anytime soon.
I would try it. but I just highly doubt that I would like the pickle and watermelon combo.
I just want some carbs. Why would I
do love me
deprive
some
myself?
watermelon, though. This summer it's been so
seeded?
good.
You want seeded watermelon while you're eating the sandwich? That's the worst part about this.
Yeah.
It's gross.
You can eat the seeds.
There's some sick people out there in this world.
So gross. How dare you eat seeds? And Costco.
No, it's the sandwich, Alex.
Oh, okay.
The humanity.
And Costco is selling what some are calling an apocalypse bucket. It features over 150 meals that last up to 25 years. And they're freeze-dried and dehydrated meal servings.
You know what's not in there? What's not going to save us from the apocalypse? Watermelon pickle sandwiches. You know what will save us from the
That's a good
apocalypse?
apocalypse snack right there.
Mountain Dew and Doritos. They last forever.
True. I could live off those.
Give me those preservatives.
Well, give me Coke instead of Mountain Dew, then we're good.
Oh, you got to live.
Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance is heading home today for his first campaign event since President Joe Biden dropped out of the race.
Melania Brown joins us live in Middletown this morning with what we can expect at today's rally. Middleton?
Good morning, guys. Today's rally is really going to be an extremely crucial moment for the Trump-Vance campaign as President Biden just dropped out of the race, and they spent all last week telling folks why they shouldn't vote for him at the Republican National Convention. Here's what Senator J.D. Vance had to say on X about President Biden dropping out. He called President Biden the worst president in his lifetime, saying in part, quote, "President Trump and I are ready to save America. Whoever's at the top of the Democratic ticket, bring it on." This will certainly play in today's rally, although political experts say Senator J.D. Vance needed to use today's event to talk about growing up in Middletown and convey to voters why he's a strong candidate. It's now expected that he'll focus on potential presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Dr. Lee Hanna with Wright State says that it was a smart decision for Trump to pick the Ohio senator as he can relate to smaller towns like Middletown, but he will have to work to get his name known nationally.
Most research shows that people at the end of the day still vote for the person at the top of the ticket. But what you don't want to have in the next several weeks and months is anything about, J.D. Vance to come out or any, poor appearances where people question Trump's judgment.
Now, some Democrats and opponents of the Trump-Vance campaign have already began pointing out issues with the candidate, including his limited time in office and that the senator was once, quote, a never-Trump Republican. So, again, that rally is today at 1:30 p.m. right here at Middletown High School. If you want to come, the doors do open at 10:30 a.m. Back to you.
Well, I'll tell you this much. It's not going to be a great day for the pets outside, but we are starting to see some drier weather move into the Miami Valley. Out basically west of Eaton, we're not seeing as much showers, and you'll look out around Indianapolis. Based on the current trajectory, I think we would want to look in basically this direction. And without too much behind it, I could see a scenario where we stay dry throughout much of the rest of the morning hours. Now, all that being said, there's still going to be chances of rain during the afternoon and evening. That is because we do have, right for now, at least the threat of a pop-up style thunderstorm. Just noticing, hey, if we can we switch to a single ODOT? I'm not sure if we can pull this off. There is an incident over on 3rd Street, or at least downtown. That due to a looks like a crash in that area. So again, if you were traveling through downtown, I-75 South is closed, or excuse me, not closed, is restricted. At least a couple lanes are closed or at least blocked off there by the police due to a crash. And again, that seems to be backing things up. That just happened within the last couple of minutes because again, just noticed it popping up on our camera.
And President Joe Biden has announced that he will drop out of the 2024 race. In a statement yesterday, Biden says he believes it's in his best interest of his party and country to end his campaign. He says he will focus on the rest of his term and provide more details on his decision later this week. This announcement comes after weeks of speculation and mounting pressure within the Democratic Party following the first presidential debate.
President Biden's campaign took a tailspin in a matter of about 3 weeks. This morning, we take a look at that timeline. It was June 27th when the candidates met on stage to debate. The 81-year-old often trailed off and gave nonsensical answers. Biden's disastrous performance led to the first Democratic lawmaker publicly calling on him to step down on July 2nd. More lawmakers joined the chorus, and the president held his first solo press conference in months on July 11th, addressing the mounting concerns, but vowing to stay in the race. That coming on the heels of the NATO alliance's annual summit. Former President Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt that weekend at a rally in Pennsylvania. Biden condemned the violence and called for unity. California Congressman Adam Schiff becomes the highest profile lawmaker to call on Biden to drop out of the race on July 17th. Many Democrats voiced concerns that Biden's candidacy would impact races up and down the ticket. That same day, President Biden tested positive for COVID-19, ratcheting up concerns about his age and health. He traveled to Delaware to self-isolate. Meanwhile, Republicans held their national convention in Milwaukee, uniting the party behind Donald Trump and VP pick J.D. Vance. That brings us to yesterday when President Biden issued his statement bowing out of the race, throwing his support behind Vice President Kamala Harris.
Donald Trump quickly seized on President Joe Biden's decision to back out. In a post on social media site, the former president laid into Biden, saying he's not fit to serve and never was. He also accused Biden's doctor in the media of hiding the president's physical fitness and mental condition, adding that it will repair the, quote, damage done during Biden's presidency.
Vice President Harris is now stepping up to the plate, saying she will earn and win the Democratic nomination. She thanked President Biden for his endorsement and decades of service. She says she will do everything in her power to unite the Democratic Party to defeat Trump.
Our time right now is 6:39. Don't forget to get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
And your weather on the side of the screen all morning long, even during commercials.
We're gearing up for a highly anticipated matchup later today featuring former Dayton Flyers and former Ohio State Buckeyes. We've got a preview coming up.
You're watching Your Day.
The exclusive Watson's Weather Patio, sponsored by Watson's.
I feel comfortable, but I could probably go without a jacket.
Winds, relatively calm. Obviously still very wet out here.
Only on Dayton 24/7 now. This week's
It's Black Friday in July at the Better Sleep Shop.
Good morning, I'm Matt Digby, and this is the Bob's Discount Furniture Sports Desk. This weekend, the Cincinnati Reds playing their first series after Major League Baseball's All-Star break. Friday night was a tough game in Washington, but Saturday was a game that could have been won, and Sunday was also a game the Reds could have won. However, it was the Washington Nationals finishing a 3-game sweep yesterday, winning 5-2. The Reds did open the scoring on a solo home run from Noelvi Marte, and then after going behind 2-1, Stuart Fairchild tying the game with this solo home run in the 5th, but James Wood with a go-ahead 3-run shot to left field in the 8th. That would decide the game. It means the Reds are now on a 4-game skid dating back to last Sunday.
At this point, it's pick ourselves up. We have so much to play for, and so much time left ahead of us that's the focus now. So obviously you learn, and you have to find ways to improve, especially when things aren't going well or when they are going well. But then we got to pick ourselves up and come out and find a way to take it one pitch at a time.
And we're several days into the 2024 edition of the basketball tournament. Sunday was an off day for the Dayton Regional after Red Scare and Carmen's crew were among the first-round winners on Saturday. That means the Dayton and Ohio State alumni teams will play each other in the second round tonight around 8 o'clock at UD Arena. Red Scare trying to replicate their success from 2 years ago when they made the semifinals. Carmen's crew won TBT back in 2019, but whoever wins tonight will be in the Dayton Regional Final on Wednesday evening. That's a look at sports. I'm Matt Digby.
Our time right now is 6:44. Here's a look at today's poll question. What is the most useless thing you still have memorized? Get your answers into our Facebook page. We'll share ours and take a look at what some of you had to say.
You're watching Your Day.
And now our big Go finding.
Well, the showers have started to lighten up in and around the Dayton area, at least compared to where they were maybe even as a hour ago. We still continue to see pockets of heavy rain throughout the area of Clinton County over towards Xenia. So there is still some heavy rain in our region. And based on that, as we'll talk about in traffic, I have noticed an uptick in the number of incidents. But for later on today, it's all about the potential for a pop-up style thunderstorm. Now, does that mean that we're going to see a lot? Probably not, to be honest with you. In fact, I would say probably it's going to stay dry once you get past noontime for a lot of us. It's just always that threat of the one or two could produce heavy rain. Now, if we do see it, that would be an area where it is more likely for us to see perhaps some morning fog for tomorrow. Tomorrow is almost a repeat of today, not only in terms of temperature, but also in terms of overall rain chances for the afternoon and evening. Many of us will stay dry. It'll be partly to mostly cloudy, temperature-wise, low to mid-80s. So that is what we expect for today. Tomorrow, starting out, I would say fairly similar, mid-60s. But again, the patchy fog compared to this morning's rain. Tomorrow, 84 compared to today's 83. I do think beyond that, it'll get a little bit cooler and then bounce right back up. Back for the weekend, it'll be nearing 90. On the roads this morning on 75, that's probably your biggest incident. That's over by Riverview. Right for now, it's the right lane that is blocked, but that's forcing traffic back at least past Main Street and now over towards Stanley. So there's a couple of slower spots as well over by 70. At this point, none of them are causing as much of a slowdown as that one on 75.
All right, digital producer Max is out today, so Nick is standing by at the big board. Nick, what is our poll question today?
All right, so what is the most useless thing that you have memorized? It could be facts, it could be book titles, whatever you got.
I am told frequently on this shift that I have a lot of useless information and knowledge. So I would say probably my favorite ones are the ability to just pull out random Dayton history facts out of nowhere. And then also I may have remembered most of the players that have played for the Cleveland Browns since 1999. And that's a lot of them.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh my goodness.
Alex?
That does not surprise me. I don't know. I really struggled with this one because my memory is horrible, so I really don't memorize a lot of random stuff.
Do you memorize anything?
I do. I mean, I guess Nathan brought up a good point. Like my books, like I do typically remember like a lot of stuff from that. That's definitely.
Do you have any like phone numbers that you're like, why do I still remember this?
Not really.
Yeah, you really don't remember things that well.
She doesn't remember what happened yesterday, Nick, so it's okay.
So I'll go, look, I'll go 20.
My brain needs to be studied.
Yeah, I'll go 2016 Mets or 2006 Rangers. Like, I don't know why I memorized the roster, but I still have that here. I actually was going through the batting order of the Mets just like literally in break. But yeah, it's that or like random phone numbers from people that haven't lived in a place for like 10 or 15 years. Our digital producer was talking about. I'm like, yeah, that seems right.
You know, when it comes to old sports nuggets, I feel like we're all a little bit like
Rain Man?
Yeah, like Rain Man. Most dudes are, yeah. Alex, we got to figure out. We need to go into the origin story of Alex King. Our time right now is 6:52. You're watching Your Day.
Sponsored by L.
your child's eczema specialist about Dupixent.
Vice President candidate J.D. Vance is heading home today for his campaign event, his first campaign event since President Joe Biden dropped out of the race.
Melina Brown joins us live in Middletown this morning with what we can expect at today's rally.
Good morning, guys. President Biden dropping out of this race has really reshaped the entire thing, and you're going to see that today when J.D. Vance takes the stage here at Middletown High School at 1:30 p.m. Now, he's already targeting Vice President Kamala Harris, who's now expected to be the Democratic nominee for president. He sent out an X post blaming her for inflation and the crisis at the border. But Vance hoped today would be about his return home and reintroducing himself on the political stage. Dr. Lee Hanna from Wright State University says he's already got a strong base in Ohio, but he does need to work on getting his name out nationally.
Most research shows that people at the end of the day still vote for the person at the top of the ticket. But what you don't want to have in the next several weeks and months is anything about J.D. Vance to come out or any poor appearances where people question Trump's judgment.
Now, some Democrats and opponents of the Trump-Vance campaign have already began pointing out issues with the candidate, including his limited time in office and the fact that the senator once said he was a never-Trump Republican. Now, again, that rally is at 1:30 today at Middletown High School, but if you'd like to come, the doors do open at 10:30. Back to you.
And President Joe Biden has announced he's going to drop out of the 2024 race. Now, in a statement yesterday, Biden said he believes it is in the best interest of his party and the country to end his campaign. He says he will focus on the rest of his term and provide more details on his decision later this week. Now, the announcement comes after weeks of speculation and mounting pressure within the Democratic Party following the first presidential debate. After Biden's debate performance, officials began to raise concerns over his ability to serve another 4 years. Biden is 81 years old, already the oldest sitting president.
Ohio leaders are now weighing in on Biden's decision to drop out of the 2024 presidential race this morning. Governor Mike DeWine shared this on X. He says in part, quote, "Fran and I wish President Biden and the First Lady all the best as he serves out the remainder of his term and in the years ahead."
Senator Sherrod Brown taking to X as well, saying, quote, "I thank President Biden for his years of commitment, service to the country as we love, as Senator, Vice President, and as President."
Senator J.D. Vance also reacting, calling President Biden the worst president in his lifetime. Vance goes on to say in part, quote, "President Trump and I are ready to save America. Whoever's at the top of the Democrat ticket, bring it on."
And Congressman Mike Turner also releasing a statement following President Biden's announcement. He says in part, quote, "This announcement confirms what the American people will have done at the ballot box in November."
All right, well, this is the one problem spot this morning that's causing